So hi everyone, my name is Reko. I come from Dealdash, where I had the people ops and talent acquisition in my one-person team. I'm going to share you some insights of how we use Teamspective here, but Jaakko asked me to tell a little bit about what our company is nowadays doing, since apparently people have heard what we did 10 years ago, and the same name is popping up now. So what's that about? So we've been in the business since 2009 or 2008. It's a bit vague. Running online auctions, and we're still the biggest provider in the world for that. What started with buying things from Amazon and sending to customers manually has evolved quite a bit, and nowadays we partner with brands, for example, Finnish brands who want to try the US market. We can help them get there very easily, or we've been moving overstock inventory now that the COVID hit, and many entrepreneurs have a lot of stuff they can't get sold. So we help them with that, and nowadays we also sell cars. And we're launching in Canada in January, so that's some news for you. About the organization, for you to get some context, well, half of our team was fully remote even before it was cool. So many years before COVID, we already had people working from their homes. We only have office here in Helsinki, and basically everybody else is working from their homes. 37 people across the globe, mainly because our customer support is 24/7, so we need to cover all the time zones, but that also gives some extra context to how the organization is managed, so somebody is always online. And yeah, we started using Teamspective in September 2020. We had a lunch with Jaakko during summer, actually, related to my master's thesis and some topics. And after that, I called Jaakko, hey, actually, I want to learn more about Teamspective. And then we started running it and still using. We're very happy about it. So what I'm going to talk about today is three topics. How to get people to answer the polls and how to keep them answering it. Then what I myself as HR or people ops do with the polls, and then some small next steps with Teamspective we have planned on the pipeline. So the first thing, how to get people to answer it. This, at least for me, was the biggest pain point, because I was super excited. Like, this is the best thing ever, and we get data. I love data, and I think all the people ops should use more data coming forwards. And that was pain for me. And I can show you an example of two teams here. So these are two of our teams. The data is a bit manipulated, but it illustrates what it was like in the beginning. So team A I would claim that is what most teams' polls activity looks like. So this is how many people on a weekly basis answer the polls. So it starts pretty high, then it kind of starts dropping, because it was exciting, but then we don't really do anything with the polls, so people kind of don't, I'm not gonna answer that. Then there's the first bump up, because somebody realized that, hey, we maybe need to go through these results. And then people get active again, but it keeps going down. Pretty usual story. And there's the another one, team B. Same bump, it goes down, goes up, but still something happens. And I like to say that you can see a hockey stick growth in everything, and I think this is a hockey stick growth. So it just starts growing after something happened. And what I did with team A, I saw that it was dropping and didn't get back up. So I tried to poke the manager, like, hey, what have you done? Have you tried this and this and this? Then I tried to talk to the people in the team, like, hey, have you remembered the polls and so forth? But nothing really worked. But in team B, I didn't do anything of that. So why is that? Here is the reason for that. So please meet James. He's the manager of team B. And he's the kind of guy who really gets excited of everything. Like, he could sell you water in a deserted island, but he also buys into everything. Like, if I tell him that, hey, I have this new tool that's it's a team-based tool, and he's like, yeah, when do we start? I want to try it. And what he kept doing, as he kept reminding people to participate in the polls like every week. He got so much buy-in that even though the response rate was going down, he was like, hey, this is important, please do it. We want to do this. Another thing he's still doing is he's consistently going through the results every single week. And the key difference is that he was the manager of the team, and I wasn't on the team A. And this is data from ProSci, who are specialized in change management. I believe that getting someone to answer the polls is it's a change management process. You're trying to change someone's behavior. And what this shows that it's multiple times more effective when message comes from either the employee supervisor or a senior manager. And the HR representative it's pretty damn low. So no wonder that my messages didn't go through. So the key thing for me has been that I will try to explain to the manager really clearly why are we doing this and try to get them to buy into that. And when they get the buy-in, then it's much easier to get those messages through. I know many of you might not have managers in your teams. So what's then? It's thought leaders. Even self-managed teams have hierarchies, and you just need to figure out who are those thought leaders. And this applies to normal teams as well with managers. That the thought leaders, when you get those on board, it suddenly just starts rolling and people start participating. So that's my first point. Try to get those thought leaders and managers on board first. Second stat from the same ProSci is 5 to 7 times. That's the amount of times you need to repeat the message for it to be effective. So I need to tell 5 to 7 times people that you need to answer the polls. What it means in Teamspective is 5 to 7 weeks that they will start answering the polls. And boom, at 5 to 7 weeks, James's team started participating in the polls. He was consistent. He never gave up. He was patient. He knew it was going to go down, and he just kept pushing. And now they are answering the polls really effectively. So those are small tips for that. You can try it. That's my experience if it works. I'm no expert in that, but try it out. Another thing is that what do I do as an HR with the polls? So this is what I do every week when the polls hits. This is the view I open. So I see every team on the left and their scores on the different areas. And I kind of browse around at what's going on, how's the pulse activity, and what's there's like Europe team seems to have workload low. This is dummy data, and stuff like that. So it's very easy for me to go and poke the managers like, hey, have you noticed there's a trend over here, and so forth. So I think this is a great view to give you some kind of general idea of what's going on in the organization. And then specifically, I would open one team like this. And this, for me, has been a perfect conversation starter. That's what I use the pulse for myself. So, for example, this is real data from one of our teams. And at this point, it's pretty evident, like there's something wrong with feedback, right? And I would go to the manager like, hey, I know you care about your team a lot, and it looks like there's something wrong with feedback. Can I help you with that, or can we discuss that? So it's very easy to kind of show that here's the data. It says like this. What do you think about this? Or is there another reason why this score looks like this? Then, but it's very easy. Like for a manager, they would look at this weekly level of themselves as well, and obviously they will see that the feedback score is low. What I myself try to focus on is trends in, like, say, motivation looks down, or what's happening with well-being. Then another way, if a manager comes to me that, hey, I feel like there's a problem in my team with motivation. People don't feel motivated, and I really don't know what to do with it. Can you help me? What I would, before using Pulse, I would just go to the team and talk to people like, hey, your manager told me that there might be some problems in motivation. And of course, they weren't going to tell me anything. They're like, what? You're calling me my manager and calling me lazy. What do you mean? But when I go to talk to them and show the Pulse, like, hey, I'm not really in your team, so I don't know. But it looks like that your motivation is trending down, or the score in the motivation is trending down. What do you think about that? So it's a level ground. I just open a question, and then they start talking about it. So I've been doing these kind of random one-on-ones with team members based on the polls, and it's surprisingly how well and how easy those discussions are when you kind of just throw them something in their face and like ask like, what do you think about this? And then it's much easier to go sit with the manager and the person and like actually discuss these problems. So that's been surprisingly helpful for me. And then next steps with Teamspective. I won't go too much into detail with these because I noticed they are on the agenda for Jaakko the Fox, but performance reviews that are unbiased, at least towards one of the biases. don't take longer than afternoon coffee. We tested with 2 of our managers. It was really fast, 10 minutes to conduct them, and are based on data and can guide your decision making. So we're super happy with our test, and we are starting this from January. And another thing that we're doing is we're integrating with Bamboo HR and getting the data for Teamspective. And I think that's very much in the core of what all the people ops are doing now. There's so much data that we don't use that well. I think we should improve on that, and very excited to get to do that with Teamspective. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Reko. It was a fantastic presentation and totally new insights for me. There's a lot of people online, so if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat and shoot some questions right there, or you can also activate your mic and ask some questions there. Oh, sorry. Please.
I actually have a question. This is Merja from Revive. I'm wondering if, Reko, you have some sort of like alarm levels that you look at in order to have those discussions. I mean, the example that you provided is quite clear, but have you set yourself maybe some mental alarm level at which you sort of take action and have that discussion?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually thought about suggesting the Teamspective team that maybe it should be automated. And one of our managers actually asked, like, could I get like an automated message that if the pulse activity is like 1 or 2 hours before the pulse deadline, it's not up at 75%. Could I get like a notification that I could like notify my team? But for me, it's been like I mean, the mental level, sure, like I think this grid scale is already pretty good. But what I've been mainly looking is trends. So I would open these and see the trends there. I basically, like, there are some teams that which I have had discussions with. I would then like every week go through all of these and see how they're trending. So I feel like the trend itself is probably better metric than just a sheer number, because it could be some teams just have a high score in something, like say psychological safety is at 90% levels, but there still might be problems. If say 9 people of the team are very happy and then there's one person who starts dropping to the red. So I think those trends are the ones that I would be looking the most.
Okay, thanks.
I took note of the notification to team admin idea. That's a great idea. Thanks for that.
Jukka here from Hoxhunt. Great example, Reko, of using the pulse results as a way to start discussions with team leads or individual employees. What happens like after that? What have kind of your challenges been after you've got kind of the talking going on?
Well, obviously, same problem popping up again. So it's just a conversation starter, and what you do after that is the whole different process. So for example, the classic workload. We're in e-commerce, so when Q4 hits, everything goes, sales go up, and there's more work. So like, obviously, people don't always have time to talk to HR about my pull surveys and trying to get things rolling. So yeah, I feel like this is very good at starting the conversation, but then following up and making sure that it actually gets done and gets fixed is probably the biggest pain point for me.
Makes sense, and totally agree with that.
I have a question for Reko. You're always so excited about the new stuff that we put out there. And we're going to talk about the evaluations and also the integrations a bit later today in the product launch section. But have you tried the Pulse playbooks that are given based on the Pulse results?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay.
Probably not.
All right.
Cool.
That's something to look into. Also, like considering like taking action on the Pulse results. So that was a feature that we launched. Gosh, I don't even remember when. Maybe 3 months ago. So based on the Pulse results of different teams, we give them Pulse playbooks that kind of tell the team admins how they could actually approach the results, how they should read it, how they should talk about them with their teams. And we have some workshop materials that can be used online or hybrid. So everyone, you should take a look if you haven't yet.
Oh yeah, very cool. That's been under the radar for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wanted to thank you guys for those materials. I've had a look at them, and I do take some ideas from them when I sort of communicate back like the full team results for people in the company. I guess I was just wondering that it's quite extensive, and do the team leads have the time to go through them in such a detail? So they might appreciate something that is a tad more simple. But yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, they're a good resource in any case.
That's good feedback. It's difficult to draw the line into what's enough and what's too little, because those topics are very deep. Like, how do you set goals that people are happy with? So you could write several books out of the topic. So we've done our best to squeeze the whole literature into a few slides. So I can imagine they are dense for someone. And we also point to other resources where we know there's some other materials that could be helpful. But those are a work in progress, and I'm sure we're gonna also improve those materials. Question?
For some of our teams, those playbooks have actually been super great as like these starter kits. As I feel that many of the teams just need to get started with something, and then they've kind of drawn out that framework into like a Miro board, and then just start putting some sticky notes there. And the experience from a couple of teams who've now kind of proactively started to do that by themselves is that it's super tahmeeta in the beginning, but then once they just get kind of going and they get kind of this experience about hey, it's just a matter of putting my ideas and thoughts together with my team into this board, and then having a talk about those thoughts. And I think it's like a skill as anything else within the team, that once the team gets kind of started with something, then they start learning, and then eventually after they do that more and more, then they start to build up an actual quite good skill of kind of processing those things. And I'd say that the playbooks, at least for us, has been a great way to give something to the team leads who ask me that what am I supposed to do with these Pulse results now? I kind of know that everything is in the red. Everything is not in the red, but maybe one or a few areas are in the red, and then they're like, what to do next? And then I can give them like a concrete framework that, hey, maybe you can try out starting with this, and then they try out, and then they move to something which applies to their team much better. So thanks to the Teamspective team for providing those.
Wow, pleasure. It's great to hear that there's use for those materials. Thank you for sharing.